The Tourette Syndrome Foundation is using Twitter to help people understand how difficult the condition can be. They want you to, and I quote, surrender your say. And when you do, they get control of your Twitter account and they send out random, sometimes offensive tweets. That way, they say, we can all begin to understand what it's like to have tics, involuntary physical and or vocal outbursts. Virginia Middleton was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when she was about 6 years old. Today, she's married, has a daughter, and a job as communications coordinator with the Faculty of Medicine. She told the CBC's Mark Quinn what it was like for her parents when she was first diagnosed.
My parents were sort of noticing me doing some different little habits. Things are out of the ordinary. I was looking up, doing this with my eyes, rolling my eyes a lot. And I had bangs, and they were probably about right here, average length. And they thought, well, maybe her bangs are in her face. So we cut my bangs a little, and I still did this a lot. And then they cut them a little more, and I still did it. And they cut, and they probably didn't go too far, but they went high enough up that it was, maybe it's not her bangs, maybe it's something else. And I was also making little noises, like a sort of, or little clicks with my tongue. And my aunt was my kindergarten teacher at the time. And she was observing these during the day as well. So we went to my family doctor, and he suspected that it might be Tourette syndrome. But that was back in 87. So, he said, we really need to have an official diagnosis. So why don't we, have you go to a specialist? So we did, and there was a process involved with that. And unfortunately, the doctor who technically, I guess, diagnosed me or told my parents, did not give the best outlook to my family.
What did he say?
He apologized to them, told them that unfortunately I had Tourette syndrome, and he was very sorry because although I was a bright, happy little 6-year-old, I would most likely never get an education, never have any friends, never really amount to anything and be dependent on them for the rest of their lives. So, of course, my parents devastated.
So obviously you disproved him?
I had. Well, luckily they got a second opinion, and the second physician said, don't worry about it, no big deal. She's very mild. There's lots of things you can learn about. Here's a 1-800 number to contact the Tourette Syndrome Foundation of Canada. You can meet other parents with kids who also have this. And they did, and we've been involved ever since. So I clearly did prove that doctor wrong. I have a BA, a criminology certificate, a postgraduate diploma. I have a wonderful husband, a beautiful daughter, lots of great friends, so I think I turned out okay.
There are mild cases and there are more severe cases. Mm-hmm. I don't see any symptoms when I speak with you. Are you symptom-free, or do you have symptoms still?
Well, typically, for a lot of people who have mild Tourette's, it may be more predominant when you're younger. So you may see more tics themselves. But I've found over the years that a lot of my motor tics are not as visible. What I mean by motor tics, it could be when I was younger, I used to do this with my nose. So a little strategy I had if I felt self-conscious was I might pretend to scratch my nose. So I could make that little gesture, but not have to feel like I'm in the middle of a crowd looking like a little rabbit. There are other things that sort of coordinate with, obsessive compulsive disorder. So, wanting to tap something a couple of times. So you might not really see it, but there are things that people with Tourette's may be doing that in their head they're thinking, everyone's watching me right now do this. It's so embarrassing. But you may have absolutely no idea.
And for the severe cases, what sort of symptoms, what sort of manifestations are there?
You could have, huge shoulder shrugging. I mean, I've had friends who will stand next to me and they'll give me a whack really hard and they'll apologize, or grabbing at you, or they could be yelling out something that may be inappropriate. I know someone of color who says a certain N-word and people sort of look at him weird, but you know what? He tries to control it, but sometimes it just manifests itself so much that he can't help himself but to say certain things.
And for those people with those more sort of severe and inappropriate sort of behaviors, what does it mean to their lives? How does it affect their lives?
It can be really challenging. Socially, it can be very hard. A lot of companies probably wouldn't want, the frontline person, say at a bank, yelling something, or maybe, flailing their arms around, or maybe they need to stand up and twirl around until it feels good. So for them, it could be challenging. I know a number of people who, will work at home or work in jobs where they won't feel as conscious over their tics. But I do have a friend who works with Canada Post, and he's quite severe, has very loud vocal tics, some really interesting motor tics, a lot of different movements. But you know what? His employer has been fantastic. His coworkers understand, and what he does with Canada Post doesn't impact in any negative way. He's been there for many, many years. So it's a matter of finding the right employer and finding employers that really understand and can look at your unique traits.
Now, you're taking part in this campaign today, the Surrender Your Say campaign today. For people who don't have Tourette's syndrome or know what it's about, if they were to give up their Twitter handle and have it say things they may not want to say, they get a sense of what it's like to not always be able to control your behavior in a public place.
Absolutely. I've tried to describe Tourette's to people that don't have it, that it's like having an itch. Imagine having an itch on your arm that you can't scratch. You're not allowed to scratch it, but someone keeps talking about that itch and talking how it gets worse and worse, and you just desperately want to scratch it. So I think this Twitter campaign really helps because people have no idea about the little itches that their Twitter account may be experiencing today, and it just won't be able to help but, blurt something out. It might be, Nina, 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 or, that's what the toaster said, or something like that. So it's, it really gives them a perspective of, oh, I didn't know I was going to tweet that.
So what do you hope this campaign will do? What do you hope the people will take away from it?
I hope that it won't just be for these 24 hours that people talk about Surrender Your Say and about Tourette syndrome. I hope that in a week's time they may remember it. I hope in a month's time, a year's time, that if they hear the word Tourette syndrome, that they'll be aware of it, they'll think back to the campaign, that they'll have empathy.
And if I understand correctly, Tourette syndrome can be hereditary.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
and you mentioned you're a mother. Was that a concern for you?
That was something I did think about when I was younger, but at the end, I've always wanted to be a mother. My husband and I talked about it, and it was never really a question of will we have children. It was a matter of more when we have children. And if our daughter or any children after her have, Tourette syndrome or any other neurology or anything that she finds to be a challenge, I think we'll be able to face it because we have, awareness, we have fantastic family support, and there's so much knowledge out there. And we have a lot of love in our family, too. So I had a fantastic childhood, despite what that first doctor said. So I have confidence that, any child of ours will be fine.
Thank you for speaking to us about this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That's Virginia Middleton speaking with reporter Mark Quinn. She was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when she was about 6 years old. Well, coming up, why the